Hi guys, Lewis here with this week's episode of Piranha Bytes. So I've said this the last couple of weeks, and I will basically continue to say it every week. If you could check out the GoFundMe page we've set up for our former employee Greg, that would be really appreciated. He's suffering from a very serious condition, and any help you can offer, as I said, much appreciated. So please check that out. And cool, right into comics. So the guys that I can't stop going on about, Tom Taylor, issue 89 of Nightwing. Now this is the first part of a two-parter that crosses over with his other title, Superman Son of Kal-El. So it's kind of a jump on, like you don't need to have read what's come before, you can just hop on here for a nice little mini story, and then issue 90 will be a jump on for a fully fledged arc. So we'll have some shelf copies, so those of you that have been missing out, you can hop on it as well, because this, and I say Daredevil doesn't exist right now, but Devil's Reign, A Woman Without Fear, any of the associated Daredevil books, these are the best superhero books coming out right now. So check them out, because you're missing out, basically. And then the other of the big two, I call them, Chip Zdarsky, Batman the Night issue 2. Really interesting. Got me in a lot more than issue 1 actually, and I liked issue 1 anyway. But yeah, like sort of he's gone over to France, and they're kind of borrowing concepts from Batman Begins, I guess, like sort of, you know, in order to defeat the criminal, he has to become the criminal. But how intensive they go into his thought process and what he's learning and how he's learning, this could almost be year 0, like preamble to year 1, which is weird because I know there is already 0 year from New 52, but ignore that. I don't know why it's called 0 year in the first place. So yeah, very interesting time in Batman's life, and it's probably the title you've seen him the most insecure on ever, at least from what I've read. Closest maybe something like Earth 1, but yeah, really recommend checking that out, because it's Zdarsky and it's Batman, it's not going to be bad, is it? Next up, final issue of Hellboy Bones of Giants. So if you're a Hellboy fan, you've been following that. There's the next one. Hulk issue 4 by Donny Cates. I haven't read this since issue 1 actually, so I do need to keep up. But yeah, Donny Cates is one of the best guys at Marvel. I kind of feel like Zdarsky's kind of taken a lot of attention away, at least in my mind anyway. I don't know what everyone else thinks. Yeah, on to the next one. Iron Fist #1. New creators, I've never heard of it. Alyssa Wong, not read anything from her, but it's a new Iron Fist. But speaking of Iron Fist, from the Vault Gold and Oldie pick, the best Iron Fist, period. It's got Brubaker and Matt Fraction on it. Why wouldn't it be? This is one of those runs that's like almost, not definitive, that's too integral to the character, but it's undisputedly the best stuff the character's had. Yeah, that's the first volume. There's 2 volumes in this format to do the whole run. It's one of my top 10 Marvel runs of all time. I really recommend checking it out, especially if you're a Brubaker fan. Fraction as well, but I see more Brubaker in there. It's very in line with what he does in Daredevil. They just throw a bit more kind of kung fu, martial arts stuff and mysticism in there, which is not a bad thing, just a different thing. It's how it makes it different to Daredevil. But yeah, definitely check that out if you've not before. Garth Ennis is back. Lion and the Eagle issue 1 on Aftershock. Kind of aping the whole Black Label magazine format. And it's not a one-shot, because a lot of these from Aftershock, when they're that format, tend to be one-shots. This is actually the start of a series. So if you've been missing Ennis for a while, there's his next offering. Primordial issue 6. I've already mentioned the big 2. I should say the big 3, because Lemire has to be up there. But Lemire almost covers, like, you've got Zdarsky as like your big Marvel guy, even though that was a DC book there. Got Tom Taylor as your big DC guy. He's covering the rest. Those are the best guys in each different flavour, each different palette. Your Marvel, your DC, and your independent stuff. They got you covered, and that's what he's doing at the moment. And he's got a new title out soon as well, Little Monsters. Definitely check that out, because that's going to be awesome. It's him and it's Dustin Nguyen. It's the same creative team as Descender and Ascender. Definitely check that out. This has been really good. I think I'm 1 issue behind. Yeah, regarding the Matt of Roswell's body, Cantwell, not as big and maybe not as good as the other guys I've mentioned, but definitely a name to look out for, because I've not read bad stuff from him yet either. Remender, carrying on with Righteous Thirst of Vengeance. I actually this morning read Deadly Class Volume 10. As much as I don't shut up about it anyway, I still forget how good it was or is. So yeah, and this is the current title he's working on. So if you're already on that, great, and if you're not, check it out. King Spawn issue 7. One of many Spawn titles, and I'm actually struggling to keep track of them. But yeah, Sean Lewis is a decent writer, so I haven't checked out these extensively, but if I gun to my head, just based off nothing else, I'd probably say that has to be the best one, because Sean Lewis knows his way around a comic script. Amazing Spider-Man issue 89, carrying on the Beyond story arc, rebooting to #1 real soon. I think it's in April, actually. So for anyone not already on Spider-Man, you have a chance for the first time in like 4 years, I think, to hop on from #1. Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr., decent creative team. It's looking to be good. And finally, Thor issue 22. I know a lot. This is a whole God of Hammers thing, and that's been blowing up lately online and whatever. So if you want to get involved and check out what's going on there, there's the latest issue. And that's everything for me, really. As always, check out Dave's newsletter for a comprehensive list of everything that's released. And I'll see you guys next week.
Piranha, fight, fight, fight. Piranha, Piranha, fight, fight, fight. Piranha, Piranha.